Kai Cenat, the kid who refused to be forgotten. There was a time when Kai Cenat was just another kid with a dream. No millions of followers, no massive mansion, no celebrities showing up on his live streams, no screaming fans waiting hours just to watch him go live. Just a kid from New York who loved making people laugh. And maybe that's what makes Kai Cenat's story so powerful. Because behind the fame, the money, the cameras, and the chaos, there's a story about a young man who wanted something very simple, to make it. Kai Cenat was born on December 16, 2001, in New York. Growing up, he wasn't some kid who had everything handed to him. Like many young people, he had to figure out what he wanted to do with his life. But Kai had something different. He had personality. He could turn an ordinary moment into something funny. He could make people laugh without even trying too hard. And eventually, he realized that the internet could give him something television couldn't. A chance to be himself. He started making short comedy videos and posting them online. At first, the numbers weren't crazy. There were no millions of views. Just a small audience. But Kai kept going. And that's something people often forget when they look at successful creators. They see the millions at the end of the journey, but they don't see the years when almost nobody was watching. Kai's early content was simple. He was just a young guy trying to entertain people with whatever he had. Eventually, he became connected with the AMP collective, alongside creators like Phantom, Dupe Dennis, Agent 00, and others. That changed things. Kai wasn't alone anymore. He had people around him who understood the same dream. They made videos together, joked around, competed with each other, and built an audience that would eventually become enormous. But Kai wanted more. YouTube wasn't enough. He wanted to livestream. And live streaming changed his life. When Kai started going live regularly, people began to see something different. They weren't just watching a creator anymore. They were watching a person. They watched him laugh. They watched him get angry. They watched him celebrate. They watched him fail. They watched him be completely ridiculous. And somehow, that honesty made people feel like they knew him. That's when Kai Cenat stopped being just another creator. He became a phenomenon. His streams started attracting huge audiences. Then came the celebrities. Kevin Hart, Drusky, Lil Baby, Offset, Nicki Minaj, and many others. Imagine being that kid who once sat somewhere dreaming about being successful, and suddenly you're sitting across from people you grew up watching. That's the kind of moment that can change a person's entire perspective. But success doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. In fact, sometimes it becomes harder. The bigger Kai became, the more people watched him. Every joke could be criticized. Every mistake could become a headline. Every argument could become a viral clip. Millions of people weren't just watching Kai anymore. They were judging him. And eventually, Kai had to learn something that every famous person eventually learns. When everybody is watching, you don't get to make mistakes privately. But despite the pressure, he kept going. Then came one of the biggest chapters of his career, Mafiathon. Kai pushed live streaming to another level, staying live for incredibly long periods and bringing in some of the biggest names in entertainment. It wasn't just a stream anymore. It felt like an event. People weren't asking, what video is Kai uploading? They were asking, what is Kai doing next? That's when you realize how far he had come. The kid who started by making people laugh online was now influencing internet culture itself. But here's the part of Kai's story that I think matters the most. The numbers don't tell the whole story. Behind every subscriber is a person. Behind every donation is someone who decided Kai was worth supporting. Behind every view is someone who needed entertainment, laughter, or maybe even an escape from their own problems. And Kai understood that, because he knew what it felt like to be young and chasing something that other people might not understand. He knew what it felt like when the dream was bigger than the circumstances. And maybe that's why so many young people connect with him. Kai doesn't present himself as some perfect superstar. He's loud. He's emotional. He's unpredictable. Sometimes he's immature. Sometimes he makes mistakes. But he's human. And that's what makes his story interesting. Today, Kai Cenat is one of the biggest names in internet entertainment. He's made millions laugh. He's built a massive community. He's worked with celebrities he probably never imagined meeting. And he's turned something that started in a bedroom into a career watched by millions. But if you go back to the beginning, none of that was guaranteed. There was no guarantee the videos would work. No guarantee people would watch. No guarantee the algorithm would notice him. No guarantee he'd become famous. There was only one thing he could control. He could keep going. And maybe that's the real lesson behind Kai Cenat's story. Sometimes you don't need to know exactly where you're going. Sometimes you just need to take the next step. Kai didn't become Kai Cenat overnight. He became Kai Cenat through thousands of small moments, recording another video, going live again, making another person laugh, surviving another bad day, and refusing to quit. And that's why his story isn't really about fame. It's about persistence. It's about believing that the thing you're doing today might eventually become the life you've always wanted. Because somewhere underneath the fame, the money, the cameras, and millions of followers, there's still that kid from New York who just wanted to make people laugh. And maybe that's the most emotional part of the whole story. He didn't just build an audience. He built a place where people could come and forget about their problems for a while. And in a world where everyone is trying to become famous, Kai Cenat became successful by doing something incredibly simple. He made people feel something.